this a third time on a different camera because my laptop will not save any more than 1 second of this video, even though the video counter has gone all the way up till I'm done. It's not saving them. So third time's a charm, as they say, and we're here on a different camera. Hey viewers, my name's Cara. I'm your host for Tuesdays here on Pagan Perspective. And this week we are talking about current goals that we have for our path or our practice. And this topic comes from one of our very own team members. So, I made a little list of bullet points to make sure that I don't ramble for too long and also don't forget anything that I wanted to say. So I have 3 main bullet points that I would consider current goals of my practice right now. And this is November 2017 for any of you watching from the future. So, first goal, current goal that I would say I have, is continuing my tarot study and practice. So I've been reading oracle cards from the time I was pretty young, around 12 or 13 I would say. My mom is a tarot reader and she read tarot for lots of people at our dining room table, which I actually still own, for years when I was a kid. And it just always seemed so overwhelming to me and so complex and complicated, so I was never interested in learning it. I just let her do her thing, and when she gifted me with my first set of oracle cards, which is the Fairy Ring Oracle that I still read today, I just focused on that, and as a result, I'm very good with that deck. But it was only in, I think, the past few years that I decided I did want to start learning tarot, and I felt like I had the time for it and the motivation for it and the desire to do it. So that is something that as of 2017, even though I started that a couple years ago, this year has really been more in-depth, like actually seeking out different books, different articles, different people's points of view on the same things, and different ways that people handle different little nuances about the system and about the meanings of the cards and how to read them and all these things. And it's something that I know is a lifelong type thing. There's always going to be more to learn about it. There's always going to be new ways to try things. And even when you master the system or the format, every new deck that you get with different artwork and, by different people, it has different energy. It's kind of learning a whole new thing, because even though they have the same system and the same basis, there's artistic variations and, like I said, different energies of different decks. So it's just a really fun thing to know that there's always going to be something new to learn about and to get used to and to get to know. So that's definitely a current goal of mine, continuing my tarot and oracle and just card divinations in general practice. Second bullet point, I can only describe this goal as stepping more into my role as priestess. And I differentiate that from my role as teacher in just a couple ways. Obviously, for years now, since about 2008, 2009, I guess it was more so 2009, that I really started posting videos on YouTube about my path and my practice. And ever since then, people have considered me a teacher of sorts, albeit an informal, unofficial, pretty casual one. I definitely post educational things, and they're not necessarily, I'm going to teach you a thing now, but just talking about my perspective on things has taught a lot of people and helped a lot of people in that way. So obviously I have that going, and that's the thing that I've been doing for a long time. And the other side of that for me is stepping more into my role as priestess, which is more of the part of holding space for people to do transformative work and creating and facilitating opportunities to do that transformative work. So for me, that's a little bit different than simply educating, but actually creating and facilitating ritual or deeper coursework and holding sacred space and getting people together and building community, all these other things to me are priestessing roles. And this is not to say that a priestess is not also a teacher and that a teacher is not also a priestess. Obviously, I am both. These are just ways that I differentiate the way that I balance those two things. So I think, you know, oh, I've been doing a lot of the teaching aspect. I need to do some more of the priestessing aspect. But I definitely, you know, I have a friend who is a high priestess of a traditional Wiccan coven, and she is teaching even when she's priestessing, because, of course, the high priestess is also an educator to the other people in the coven. But beyond that, she's also leading them in ritual, which is a different thing than when we all sit down together and teach a little class on something. So I hope that explains what I mean. And I've talked a little bit about the difference that I see for myself between the words priestess and witch on my personal channel, if you haven't seen that video. But yeah, so my second goal that I'm definitely doing a lot of work with right now is stepping more into my role as priestess. And part of what I'm doing with that is creating courses that I can offer to people online, similar to the Saturn Returns course that you've probably heard me talk about on my personal channel. Probably have mentioned it on here too. I'm in the second iteration of that right now. So the first one was May through August, and then the second one that I'm doing right now is started in September and will be ending in December when Saturn returns to the sign of Capricorn. So I've done 2 sessions, two rounds of it, I suppose you could say, and it's over 4 months. Every other week we do a specific video session or lesson, and in between there we have a private group where we can discuss and talk about different things related to Saturn returns, and I share other information and articles and stuff like that, and we just talk about all kinds of things related to Saturn returns. So that kind of thing is similar to what I mean, but I'm working on other courses on other subjects and diving deeper into different things that I really want to work with, and as long as I'm diving deep into working with them, I feel that it's also a place to offer that facilitation to others to do that work with me as well. So that's the kind of work that I mean, but also my third bullet point is kind of a takeoff of this one, part of stepping more into my role as priestess. My third bullet point is that I'm actually getting ready to teach elements of magic in a reclaiming tradition of witchcraft style to my partner. So I am not yet officially a reclaiming trained teacher, but I am on the slow but steady track toward doing that. I have one more core class that I have to take, and then I can start student teaching with other reclaiming trained teachers and just keep working on the process from there. However, I am one of only 2 reclaiming witches in my entire city area that I have been able to find so far. And there is not already an existing reclaiming community where I am. So part of what I'm doing is attempting to build that community and teaching people the very basics, the first class, elements of magic, which is a prerequisite for many of the others, is one way that I can get started with building community, offer something to them, and also specifically starting with teaching it to my partner means that if they want to go with me to take some of these classes that I'm planning on taking in the future, they should also have a little leg up, because elements of magic is a prerequisite to most other classes, if not multiple prerequisites. So yeah, so that's just a way that I can start to work toward building community and also make sure that my partner has that necessary experience and knowledge, background in the basics, the building blocks of what we do with working with the elements and stuff like that. So you can see how that's part of my role as priestess as well, because actually, getting to create a ritual, hopefully some kind of transformative experience for another person, me being someone who normally does a lot of my work solitary for most of my life, getting to say, like, okay, Samhain this year is not just for me, it's actually going to be an experience for someone else who I'm teaching through this ritual that I'm creating, and coming up with a whole arc to what's going to go on in this ritual and how I want this experience to be and what I'd like them to be able to learn, but also leave space for mystery and leave space for whatever is going to come to them and let them have their own experiences. So, two sides of that same coin there, but I consider getting ready to teach my partner elements of magic to be a specific goal in itself, because I'm working on plans, and we're talking about, how do we want to do this, when do we want to do this, do we want to do it, in a really quick format, or week by week, or how do we want to do this? We have a lot of freedom, seeing as we're together all the time. It doesn't have to be crammed into 1 week taken off of work. It doesn't have to be crammed into a 3-day weekend. So yeah, there's a little more freedom with this. So yeah, those are 3 of my current goals. Continuing to broaden my tarot study and practice and other forms of card divination, my oracles as well, and stepping more into my role as priestess in many different ways, part of which is developing courses and specifically getting ready to teach elements of magic to at least one other actual human being in person, face to face. So yeah. Thanks so much for watching. This is a fun topic, and I will see you guys next week. Until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.